And welcome, Rooster Boosters. It's Rooster Booster time. I'm the big guy, Scott Ferrara. That's Mike this way, the Grand Poobah Paraziti. And we have a special guest today, my buddy Phil Harris. Phil, introduce yourself to everybody.
Hey guys, so I am the founder and main man behind the Jacks Rangers Show, which is a podcast devoted solely to the fan perspective for the New England Freejacks. I also do another show called the Ruck and Rooster Show, which is separate than professional rugby. It's mainly collegiate rugby and specifically the University of South Carolina Fighting Gamecocks. I'm on the board of trustees for the team, so I wanted to start that up. It's been going great. In addition to that, I'm also a member of the First Regiment, which is the unofficial supporters group for the New England Free Jacks.
And so if you're a Clemson fan, you know where to go.
Stay the hell away from me.
And we had Phil on today because so what we've been doing is I went on Phil's show. It dropped this morning, so check out my episode on Jack's Rangers this morning wherever you find podcasts. It's also, I believe, available on their Facebook and YouTube pages. And what we like to do is we like to go on each other's show the week before we play each other, talk a little bit. I had to wear the Free Jacks gear because we had lost the last contest against them, and then this will be an ongoing thing where whoever joins whoever's podcast, when the loser has to wear their gear. Yeah. Phil was nice enough to present me with a nice polo. Again, it's luckily lots of gear in the MLR. Nothing really bad. You know what I mean? Like nothing stands out to me as like ugly that I wouldn't wear. Right. So it was nice. It was nice to do that. We talked a little bit about rugby, but let's talk about week 4. Let's start off with the Giltinis and the Free Jacks. I'm telling you, I went in with my Super Brew pick, right? And to be honest, I picked LA by 2. And the reason being is LA's coming off that bye.
Yep.
New England's rolling over to the West Coast, and historically teams going from East Coast to West Coast don't play their best.
Right.
Not that I didn't think the Free Jacks didn't play their best, you know what I'm saying, but just whatever it is, the jet lag, the lack of time over there because they kind of come over there and they play immediately almost. So I had LA winning the match, but it was a slugfest from coast to coast, to be quite honest. Was it 12-8 at halftime?
It was a close match, man. Yeah. I'm super proud of the Free Jacks for going all that way. I mean, they even had another, obviously the travel is hell on your body going that way, all the way there. But they had another wrench thrown at them was the weather in Boston Friday when they were anticipating leaving. All the flights were going to be canceled. So I heard TK during one of their practice sessions, he was up in the stands, like frantically calling Delta to get, an arrangement for a flight out of New York City. So they had to jump on a bus to New York and then lay over for like 12 hours or something like that, and then head over to the West Coast to play LA. And last year this team, the Free Jacks, didn't play well on the road at all, and that's really why we didn't make the playoffs. We won every one of our home games except for one, so we were right there in it in terms of home games, but our away form was just really bad off. And the first 2 games that we had were against lesser opponents. At least that's what we, based on the standings currently, where they fall. But you would expect this team, if it was last year's team, we wouldn't play as well and possibly even lose some of those games. So it's encouraging to see the Free Jacks kicking ass on the road. And hell, we almost beat the defending champions. So it feels pretty good.
Definitely. Rooney's number 1 fan, Jason Zimmerman, not 1 in the world, buddy, but number 1 in the Rugby Rant poll right now overall. Mike, the Grand Poobah over there, was number 1 in the Super Brew Rugby Rant Super Brew last week overall.
Yep.
Got knocked out by Jason. I mean, unfortunately, I think I went 4 for 6, which plus all the bonus points I don't get because I think every match is going to be a tight match. I'm kind of just in middling, unfortunately. I think if I have it right, plus 4. I've correctly nailed 19 out of 26 matches, but I'm only in like 13th place. Which is, sucks.
I've never gotten involved in the Super Brew, but everybody talks about it. Like, it seems like everybody I know that is involved in Major League Rugby or a big fan is all involved. So I need to get in on this next year, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
This is my first year doing it. I absolutely love it.
Cool. It's fun. It's pick 'em. You pick a score line. There's a couple bonus points involved.
Yeah.
It's a little bit easier to handle than I would say fantasy rugby for MLR because, and we really don't have. I am number 1 in the world for MLR. I don't know about that, Jay. I'm going to have to check that shit. You might be drunk. But it's easier to go over because, Is he really?
He is.
Yeah. Then he can just go fuck himself. I love you, Jay. I'll see you on Sunday. But talk about the match, LA and New England. First guy to crack a try, our boy Hanko. Not surprising. He touches the ball, he runs, he goes. So him scoring is not quite surprising to me. But New England carried like all the momentum into the second half. They had numerous phases right off the bat. And I think who scored the first one? Was it Van Den Hoven?
No. So that was Peter Janssen, I believe, was the one that touched it down. So by the way, 3 tries disallowed in that game for the Freejacks. One in the first half with Waka, gets his toe stepped out of bounds before the ball went down, and then we had the maul where the referee couldn't see the ball going down, but all of the forwards, like literally everybody in the same order, was like, yes, we scored a try. So that was kind of a bummer. And then of course the last one, it was the real heartbreaker, is the SWAT play from the LA player where it looked like he touched it last, but it was actually a Freejack. So it
was a knock. It called it back on the knock. Yeah,
that's right. Yes.
And same thing with Rugby New York. Rugby New York had 3 tries called back on TMO, including one that had a great celebration at the end of it between Happy, right? Sam Windsor, and Will Tucker. Was it Will Tucker or Jack Hayton? Jack Hayton, I think. But it's interesting. So out of New England and New York, 6 tries disallowed, called back by TMO. All of them. I'm going to talk about the mall one next, but 5 out of 6 definitely. The plays were the plays. They got them right. Rooney had the same issue in week 2 against Houston. They scored a try, which the referee called it on the field. Went to TMO, and he goes, "Well, I can't see it in TMO, so I'm taking it back," which isn't the spirit of TMO. It's, for in layman's terms, it's the NFL rules, right? If you can't see anything to deny the play, then the play stands as called on the field. So I'm wondering if, referees are second guessing themselves sometimes by going to TMO.
Yeah, I mean, they're human
in those situations. Yeah, and especially if you called the grounding but don't see the grounding, you still called it. It should still stand. So, and one of those would be the winner for you guys this week.
I know, man. It's a heartbreaking loss on one hand, but at the other hand, it's like, okay, we traveled to LA in their empty Coliseum, played the defending champions at home, and we're toe to toe with them, and almost won that game. Just a little bit of misfortune, and otherwise we would have won that game and been 3-0 coming to y'all's house to knock on the door. So it is a bummer, but at the same time, I'm proud of them. That's the best way to describe it.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, they played a great game. Giltinis are no slouch, and like I said, it's going through all the other stuff you're going to go through as far as the snowstorm and then getting stuck and then a layover and then wake up and do this. And I think you saw that at the end of the match, a number of Freejacks were cramping on the ground, and I think that was just a part of the entire trip, to be honest. And it kind of sucks, in my opinion, for it to go that way. I think it's just going to continue that way for a little bit until we can get more of a standard of travel, I think. And it has been getting better year by year from what me and Mike know, because we're kind of, have been inside this for a little bit. So, I don't think we're quite there, but a snowstorm is a snowstorm. If you're watching from outside of the Northeast, I got 6 inches of straight up ice. It's still on the ground. So it just sucks. Mike, what do you think about the Giltini win over New England?
I think I was one that called the Giltinis over the Freejacks. So I was one of my 5 wins this week. The Giltinis have been disappointing. I wouldn't say disappointing, but they have been almost seemed like underperforming. That Houston game, it seemed like really got to them. Mm-hmm. I think Freejacks they're no slouch. They're not going to be a slouch, and they surely proved that. So it was close. I loved it, from start to finish. I think the big thing has to be, though, referees have to really figure out this whole TMO thing. Mm-hmm. And I think that has to be coming from down on high, where someone says, "Hey, look, a TMO is." If there's, you're trying to find something to dispute the call that you made on the field. It's not that, I can't confirm the call on the field. It's I can't, dispute the call.
Mhm.
So
or dangerous play. And I just want to
Yeah.
talk about this real quickly. It has nothing to do with New York or New England. OGs versus Toronto. Fontanana Schultz slugging Lucas Rumball 4 times, not only in front of the official, but the TMO's looking at the play to make sure it's grounded. How did they not call that like that for dangerous play on the field? Is beyond me. So
but that's like standard issue right now for OGs. The same thing happened last year against
yes.
Rugby New York at OGs in front of, I believe, Scott Green and
yes.
the assistant official on the sideline, where there were punches thrown and no, nothing.
Yeah, but the TMO is supposed to also call out dangerous play. That's their second function. Their first function is safety. I say their first function is safety and dangerous play. Their second function is to check the plays. And man, I think that's a big blow to MLR officiating and MLR TMO release.
Did you see that shiner that he got from that? Boy, he looked like Popeye.
And if you see it, there's a video on Brian Ray's Twitter where he kind of clipped it, and it's 4 good shots, and he's drilling them. And I understand Lucas is holding them. In my opinion, if you don't punch Lucas, 2 things can happen. You can try and make the tackle, and you might get under the ball for the grounding because he scored right next to you. And maybe the TMO sees Lucas holding you as you're trying to tackle, and then they flag it as a no call. Yep. So you could have done all that, and you know he's going to get suspended for it. He's going to get cited in a meeting for it. So I don't know. Sorry, I just going off on a tangent. We were talking about it. And it blew my mind. But no, I think Giltinis have played. The teams they have played are all similar in style, and I think New York and NOLA showed last year how you can beat them by minimizing the ball in hand for them and grinding down the game. And that's something that Houston does well. That's something that New England does well this season. Mm-hmm. So I think they have met their match as far as that's concerned. They play for the Gilly Cup, I think, next weekend against Austin, which Austin doesn't grind it down. They play open like LA. So I wonder if you'll see a higher scoring game and Giltinis will look, as Mike says, better.
Well, part of the reason why that LA's had so much trouble with Houston and the Freejacks is it's the South African influence, right? As you're talking about the grinded out, phase play rugby. So, and physicality, as I like to say.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think, New York still has that grinded out mentality.
Yeah.
NOLA has the grinded out mentality if they can stop their mistakes inside the red zone. So, all right, let's talk about the New York win against the Dallas Jackals. Dallas Jackals, me and Mike had kind of talked about it last week with Sam Windsor. We thought it was going to be a letdown game for the Dallas Jackals, and it was. Again, I think Mikey Lash called a great game. Like we said, all the TMO reviews came back correct. Mm-hmm. I think just 2 things. I believe Andrew Coe was hit in the air on a play and nothing. And Rooney was up by 40 at the time, but again, dangerous play, you have to call it. And then how many times is Dallas going to get a warning before they get a call on a scrum? They were warned 6 times by my count, and he refused to pull the card. And my point is, and my point is, if you're already handicapping a good scrummaging team on the reset rule, you have to pull out the card, because even when they went to their subs, our subs were still beating them and turning them. So I understand the game was out of hand, but you gotta call it.
I mean, one of the reasons for a yellow card is multiple infractions over and over again. So I mean, you got to pull it at some point prior to that 6 for sure.
I mean, I think out of every scrummage, Dallas was pushed back on all but 2. Now that doesn't mean they didn't retain the ball on some of those pushbacks, but my point is, think about that. 80-something% of the time, Rooney was pushing them back off the push immediately.
And the worst part about all that too is it seemed like when the subs came in, they immediately all right, their front row subs came in. They immediately all right, we're not even going to try this. It seemed like their front row was immediately going to the ground. All right, we're just going to at least try and stop this push, which that becomes dangerous because all of a sudden, you're throwing, your hooker basically on the ground.
Yeah.
Something had to be done with Lash to, clean that up a bit. But you know what? It's fine. That scrum, I called it. It was scrum porn. That was if any front row, that scrum made me want to be a forward. Just how badly they were beating them. I'm surprised they were even allowed to televise. How bad that was.
Mike had what we call in our show a musket-sized pants tent over the scrums.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Big player for New York. That match was our buddy Pago Heine. He played great. There was at one point he got a counter kick. What was it? It was when we blocked the exit kick, and it became that drop kick from the try line, right? And then
Appy blocked it.
and
So goal
and then Pago grabbed it, and he had like a good 20 or 30 meter head start, and you saw the defense smartly, because I always feel like if you're going to run at a guy full steam, you're not making that tackle. The Dallas Jackals stopped, waited for the contact to take him down, and it worked because they got him right down. I felt like if they had continued to run forward towards him, he would have broken those tackles and got right through. So, Dallas does know how to play a good defensive line. When they had the ball in phases, they were making meters. It's just the set pieces. I mean, we dominated them in the lineouts. We dominated them in the scrums. I think penalties were just about this, even. In my opinion, I believe that the number was close to even. But yeah, it was just dominating off the set piece, which is something New York is known to do. Yep. So I mean, and everybody said Pago was the man of the match. I would say probably Kalola Tuiloma, because he was in the scrum and he scored twice. But hey, whatever. Also, shout out to Connor Buckley. I think he had 3 try assists. One of them was that great step he gave and broke Trinder's ankles and then threw it out to Will Tucker, who, as he pointed, daintily put the ball down for the try, I think were his words. And a big shout out to our buddy Wilton Rabolo, who had the longest yet shortest height-wise jump for a try we've ever seen, about 3 inches. Shout out to Wilton. But yeah, so let's talk about the upcoming game. So we'll ask score predictions before we leave, but listen, according to Jason, it's supposed to be 60-degree weather. It's supposed to be nice. This is the first home game for New York. Yeah, I know. I'm very excited just for the weather. It's been freezing here, just like I'm sure it's been freezing up by you guys in Massachusetts and Maine and Vermont. But, man, it's going to be one of those things. Does New York get overhyped because they're playing in front of their home crowd? I think playing away, they've had like almost kind of a freer attitude on playing a little bit. So I wonder if they're going to tighten up playing in front of their home fans against their rival.
It's a great question. I mean, do you go conservative or you go aggressive in your first home game? We'll have to see what happens. But I feel good about this. Ultimately, the Free Jacks last year were a team that had a lot of what ifs associated with them. What if we had won more away games? What if we had more depth? That sort of thing. This team this year has gotten a lot better. And I think you guys have as well. A credit to New York. I mean, we want to have you guys like be this big essentially, but you're not. I mean, you're a contender every single year, so that's kind of annoying. The branding is a little wishy-washy, but the actual the actual product on the field is super good. So I find that very annoying. I hate that you guys are so good, but I guess on the other hand, it is nice that we have like a competitive rivalry. It shouldn't just be a dominant performance like a 10-year win streak or whatever. That gets really boring, right? So the first thing I wanted to say is that I know that you guys are very forward heavy. You are the king of the mauls, as you said on my show, with Dylan Fawcett being close to the all-time try score in the league, simply because of the line out to maul to try combo there. So that has to be neutralized for the Free Jacks. If you guys are inside the 22 from a line out, I'm assuming that that's what you're going to do. And the Free Jacks know that. I mean, everybody knows that, right? That's y'all's bread and butter. The problem is not enough teams can stop it. So the Free Jacks have to be working on that in practice this week. One thing to keep in mind is the Free Jacks have gotten a lot better defensively. They, in every single game that they've played, in terms of the entire league, they have the most tackles for all 3 rounds that they've been in competition this year. And it's like heroic numbers too. It's very New England-y, it's very gritty. They get in, they really hurt people, and they put them on the ground in one tackle, and they get that jackler over there, which is normally Joe Johnston or Slade, to try to get that turnover ball. And what's really cool about the Free Jacks this year is they're so dangerous in that transition turnover. They can score like that from a turnover. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited.
I mean, that one Bowden Waka kick, chip kick off I think it was he received the ball off the kick, came up, kicked it, chip kicked it as he was being tackled, and I forgot who converted the play. But yeah, it was off a turnover. And you guys great defensively, and it's funny. I think Rooney is good defensively. although they didn't get to show it against Dallas because Dallas just didn't have the ball
I think
as much.
I was going to say they did show defensively. Their good defense. I think the one try was a mistake and kind of a fluke, but everything else, there are times that Dallas got lucky and pushed into the red zone, so to speak, and we had that bend not break defense where all of a sudden everyone's piling up and getting ready and stopping them. There were times where Dallas could score and might have scored on a lesser Rooney team of maybe last year, but it seemed like they had everything together and they fell back pretty well. It looked like our defense was doing pretty well.
So I have a question for Phil. So the lineup going into LA, is that like your number one starting lineup? Would you think, or do you think there's going to be changes?
No, that's the thing is John Poland didn't start. He's our number 9 most frequently throughout the years here. I mean, having Holton Younger as the backup is pretty good situation. We've got a 1 and 1A there, but normally I would expect John Poland to be there. And also we've had a kid that's been starting, Terrell Pita at number 8. He is a Maori All Black. So I mean, great resumes. I think he's like 22 years old. We've got a lot of international young players that have come over here, which is super exciting, which makes us not have any worry about depth whatsoever. But the guy that is missing from that forward pack is going to be Jesse Peretti. Just a pedigree of super rugby level. He has the talent to be an All Black. Some people argue about his weaknesses, which, I don't want to get too far into. I mean, this is a fan podcast over here, but the talent is there, my brother. That guy he is legit. And when he's standing next to you, we've had the opportunity here at the Jacks Rangers show to be really embraced by the team. Like, we get to go to all their stuff, the cool stuff that they do. And when he stands beside of you, I'm a big boy. I'm 240, 6'4". I played lock back in the day, and I'm just like, holy shit, this guy he's legit. Yeah.
That's great. That's how I feel next to Charlie Hewitt. Charlie Hewitt is one of our starting locks. He's a legit 7-footer. And you're like, holy shit. Like, he can feel the rain before I can. But that was the thing with New York's, if for any Freejacks fans watching, New York's lineup going into Dallas, I would call their second team lineup, especially up front. Here's the thing. I think 1, 2, and 3 for Rooney. If you take Caleb Geiger out because he only has 2 years of experience, although he's proven he can run the ball very well and he can throw it to a line out. I'm sure he will be out. He did receive a HIA in that match. He went in for a tackle, hit the guy's hip, and went right out. So shout out to Mikey Lash. Did a double, saw him on the ground, but did quite of a double take and then immediately blew the whistle to get the trainers on. But anyway, I think any combination 1, 2, 3 can start on any team in the MLR. So. Yeah, was it our second string front row? Yes, but guys like Ben Bonasso not on the field. Appy and Quinn getting their first action from being injured. Conor McManus getting his first action for being injured. Ed Fido not on the field. So I think we're going to see what I would call our A squad coming up this time.
I did want to mention, of course, Dougie Fife still suspended on a 3-game suspension for that great injustice that the league levied upon the Freejacks. At the University of South Carolina, we have this thing like ESPN hates us. So we all say that and we kind of buy into it. You know what I mean? we find every little example to be like, see, there's them again. ESPN's shitting on the Gamecocks. Yeah. So now we've got this thing like, the league hates the Freejacks for whatever reason. And then we find these little things. It's like conspiracy serious, it's like next level stuff. But, one of the things is Dougie Fife shouldn't have been suspended for 3 games. But we've got in his place a veteran of the league, Mitch Wilson, who's very capable at 15. There's not a lot of depth issues with this team. I'm not concerned at all about, when our guys get tired, our substitutes coming on, these guys, they're not no names. They have great resumes, whether it be the Southern Hemisphere or, Canadian internationals, American up and comers. This is a good team. Like what I've been saying in the preseason and going forward here is it feels good to be good. And in the preseason, it was just on paper good, but we've shown this team is legit, man. I feel good.
I don't know the numbers for the Freejacks, but just with the names I know on the team, I feel like it's a similar thing where Rooney has 32 guys rostered. 17 of them are either USA capped, Rugby Canada capped, or eligible. So more than half the team is what we would consider North American players and not under that foreign player spot. And I think that's the kind of, and that's how I feel the Freejacks are set up too. I think that's almost the perfect amount you want because you are getting some international talent to come in. You are pushing American talent, Canadian talent, or supporting the guys who are already capped there.
Yeah.
And listen, it's a private business enterprise that's trying to make money through rugby. So it can't just be all North Americans all the time.
Sure.
But I feel, again, similarly on the rosters, it kind of so many similarities on the rosters. It's crazy. I mean, us having 3 really good nines and Andy Ellis, Connor McManus, Connor Buckley. Sam Windsor coming in with a big leg. Jack Heighton, again, a big leg guy who can play 10. He could slot in 15. And then a bunch of track stars, 7 stars, Andrew Coe, Appy, Quinn was a league player. Jason Emery, who's fast in his own right, Maori All Black. You talk about ABs. It's going to be a frigging slugfest, man. Like I think it's going. I'm not going to say it's going to be super high scoring, but I could see it being like 30s, low 30s, high 20s, somewhere around there for both teams. I don't think it's going to be a blowout on either end. I think it might come down to a score at the death, whether it's a try or a kick, or somebody doing a desperation drop goal when they're catching somebody off guard. Like I think that's what's going to be exciting. I think that's what's going to make this maybe the match of the season so far. So Mike, let's get your score prediction first, Mike.
See, I'm going to go. I've been thinking about this the entire time. I'm going to go Rugby New York by 10. It's going to be a high scoring affair. Yeah. But I think Rugby New York by 10.
Okay, and hold on. I want him to clarify. Like, so why? Tell me why. Tell me why.
I think our defense has come together real well. We've seen what we can do, especially against that. The Dallas team. Yeah, it's Dallas, but like they're still a solid team. They don't have all the pieces there, but they're still a solid team. I think we saw our blitz defense work really well against Atlanta, where Andrew Coe picked off 2 passes, one for a try and one that set up a try. So I think we're going to definitely blitz that outside with our our speedsters, and I think we're working out the bugs. I think Dallas was a work out the bug kind of game, and so hopefully I think everything all the pieces are there, and hopefully they're all together, and it comes together for a nice solid. Rugby New York win, and
like we like to say when me and Mike give our scores, we reserve the right to change them as the rosters come out. So, Phil, what's your prediction?
Well, you see me smiling over here. I'm not going to surprise anybody and say that New York's definitely going to win. I don't think that's going to happen. But here's the good thing: both of these teams don't suck, right? Yeah. So it's going to be if somebody's watching this in neutral, they're going to really enjoy this game, just like they enjoyed the Freejacks against LA. It's it's going back and forth. We're going to be in it the entire time, both teams. I think it's going to come down to that squeaky bum time, the last 10 minutes. You're probably going to see a score at that point that's going to put it away, and there's just going to be a frantic defense to keep the other team from scoring. So I'm predicting that the Freejacks will win by the thinnest of margins, 1 point. So I'm guessing this is going to be a 20-21 defensive affair. I'm not seeing it getting into the 30s for either team. I think the defenses will kind of cancel each other out at certain points. I think we need to, for the Freejacks to win, I think 2 things need to happen. We've got to neutralize you guys' maul tries, hard, tough task to do, obviously. And the second thing, what my brother Dave McVeigh said on my podcast was, we basically have to, win the territory battle to make sure that you guys are starved of the ball a little bit and don't have opportunities to score as much as you would like. So I think that's what it's going to come down to. So it should be a great game.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a great game as well. Our buddy Jason, Rooney by 3. I'm going Rooney by 3. Here's the thing. I think you're right. I think it's going to come down to the last 8 to 5 minutes about who's going to score. And then if that defense can then hold them, it might come down to, extra time, and then the defense can't hold them. We've seen that happen quite often in the MLR. Yeah. But I'm going to say New York by 3. I'm going to say Sam Windsor either slots a penalty late or maybe a drop goal. He tried the drop goal for Dallas, so he was practicing it, and it just missed. It just missed. It had I thought it had the leg. It looked like it kind of just got hung up in the air. The only thing I'm a little scared about as far as roster concerns are, Kara Pryor can play lock if needed, but we really only have 3 legit locks. We have Nate, we have Nate Brakely, we have Charlie Hewitt, and we have Will Tucker. With Nick Savetta still being in England, so I just get a little, if somebody gets nicked up or injured, and guys are playing back to back. Last week we had all three of them starting. Two of them starting at lock, one of them starting at flanker, and that concerns me if it's going to happen again.
I got two things for you, but go ahead and finish up.
No,
okay,
go for it.
So I wanted to mention, with your storyline here of Sam Windsor hitting the drop goal to win the game, that would be very interesting. This is something you guys might not know about. Is Sam Windsor talked to the Freejacks prior to signing his contract with Rugby New York? So
he had told me that.
Okay,
he was looking to go East Coast because this is where his wife's family is from.
Yeah,
he wasn't sure where he was going at the time, but yeah, he did mention that to me.
That would really be something. It would just stab us in the heart one more time there, Sammy. And I don't remember what the second thing was, so maybe it'll come to me.
It's okay. Yeah, guys. So Phil and what did you say, about 15 or 20 other Freejacks fans are coming down for the match?
Yes, absolutely. So we're expecting at least 15 to 20. I know that myself and Dave, his family, is coming down. So that's at least 6 of us. I know of at least 2 more families that'll be down there, and more than that, I'm sure, that I haven't heard from. So you'll definitely see the Rangers and the 1st Regiment down there. If you see us in our colors, buy us a beer. It's all about respect, right? Yeah. With part of the branding of Jack's Rangers is we're a little brash online, right? We like to make fun of you guys a little bit with the name and stuff like that, but ultimately rugby's all about respect. So when the game kicks off and when it's over with, it's all about it's just people enjoying rugby. It's all about brotherhood and sisterhood and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, no, listen, good online banter and back and forth and a little bit of trash talk that doesn't go over the line. We love that. When they come to the stadium, everybody, I hope everybody's taking pictures. Me and Phil always take a picture together. I want me and Dave to take a picture because we didn't get one last time. So take pictures with Pete, with the Freejacks fans. I want to fill online with the fact that everybody's there to watch MLR rugby, even though it's a rivalry. There will be, watch out for an announcement. There should be an announcement on pre and post match activities. Obviously, I'll share it at the social media at RNY fans. And Phil, give them your social media real quick.
So it's Jack's Rangers all across all, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff, and jacksrangers.com as well. You can find us on Spotify. It's probably the best place to look for the actual podcast. We're 30 episodes in at this point. It's going real well. A lot of that has to do, Scott helping us out at the very beginning. We appreciate you very much.
No problem. Yeah. Listen, one of the things I always say, especially when a new team comes in the league or somebody's trying to do something new to promote this sport and this league, why wouldn't I help them out with the knowledge that I know to get them going? Right. I love it. Thank you so much for doing what you do, because me and Mike love what we do here. Yeah. And we know it's just pushing this sport where it needs to go. Jason has a question, Mikey. Are you coming down, buddy?
I'm not, because unfortunately I am playing in a touch rugby tournament earlier in the day. And then I'm doing a watch
Jason,
party.
He's playing touch rugby. He's not even playing full contact rugby.
I know.
Mike. I play 9. I yell at the referee, and I play touch rugby. No, but I'm just joking. We'll miss Mike, but I'm sure he'll be at the Excelsior Pub. So if you're in the area, Excelsior Pub, and check out our girl Jazz at the merch tent. If New England's looking for any type of New York merch, the merch tent will be open. You never know. Maybe you want something for the wall, or maybe you need to wear something because you lost the bet because Rugby New York won.
I still have that oversized jersey that I lost about 30 pounds, so it's actually going to just completely swallow me this time around. So
listen, you can wear it at night while you go to sleep, and you can dream about the Roosters. Anyway, Phil, thank you so much for going on again. Check out his Jack's Rangers episode that just dropped this morning. I'm on it. Listen to it. It's a good podcast to listen to when I'm not on it anyway. I like the format of it. It's very fun. I'm the big guy, Scott Ferrara. That's Mike the Grand Poobah Perazini. For our buddy Phil Harris with Jack's Rangers. We'll see you guys on Sunday for our pre-match. See you guys later.
Huzzah.